We all thank you all for your warm attendance, for being here tonight, and mostly for being so excited about what we're getting done. But before we start talking about what we hope to do for Canada, I think it's important tonight to mention another Canadian, one we should be thanking for his service, for his dedication to our country. RCMP Constable David Wynne was laid to rest today. He was shot in the line of duty trying to apprehend a criminal in St. Albert, Alberta. Our thoughts are with his family tonight, my thoughts particularly with his 3 young children. Dernièrement, j'ai beaucoup voyagé pour parler avec des citoyens partout au pays. J'ai écouté les Canadiens qui me demandent régulièrement pourquoi les choses semblent plus difficiles aujourd'hui qu'il y a 10 ans. Like a young mother from Milton who, along with 17,000 others, lost her job at Target and is now wondering how she'll feed her 2 kids, about when she'll work again, and about how government might be able to help. Or Adam, a young husband from Windsor, who couldn't find teaching work despite having all the necessary skills, so he had to leave home. He and others like him are wondering why there's no work for them in their community. Maybe, like me, you're wondering why these stories keep coming up. And perhaps you're wondering, what exactly happened to all those promises made about a strong economic recovery? Or, while we're at it, those promises of accountability. Eh bien, toutes ces questions méritent des réponses. Ce sont des problèmes que nous ne pouvons négliger. Heureusement, ce sont aussi des problèmes qui peuvent être réglés. Ce dont nous avons besoin, c'est d'avoir le bon plan. My friends, just a few months ago, we were having a very different economic conversation about this country. Events can change quickly. But it's only a handful of cases where the changes force us to ask ourselves whether old ways are suited to these new times. I believe that these times call for us to come together and ask some straightforward questions. Stephen Harper regularly told Canadians to trust him, that his was the hand we ought to have to steady the tiller. So, first question. Why would the Harper government bet so much of Canada's future on oil prices staying high? Because the fact is, they didn't stay high. They never do. And a second question. Why didn't the Harper government have a more balanced plan? The Bank of Canada confirmed last week what many of us have known for a while. Mr. Harper's economic vision has neglected the things that have always made Canada prosperous: diversity, balance, and partnership across regions and between sectors. Nous avons besoin d'un plan économique solide pour le Canada qui englobe toutes les régions et tous les secteurs d'activité. A plan that includes small and big businesses, that includes Canadians, with a real commitment to the skills and education of our people and to the research that we do. Instead, Mr. Harper was busy not caring about manufacturing jobs drying up and had a finance minister who was busy telling Ontarians that they had, quote, no one to blame but themselves. Il y a une meilleure façon de faire. Il y a une meilleure équipe. Il y a un meilleur plan. Et si nous travaillons avec acharnement cette année, nous donnerons aux Canadiens un meilleur gouvernement. What Liberals have known for years is that Canada's economy works best when it's balanced, firing on all cylinders. When all of our sectors are running as best they can and every region is at work doing what it does best. Canada's strength shouldn't rely on any one thing or one place. It's built on the diversity of our people and the diversity of our economy. Now, yes, we need a strong West, but we also need a strong East, a strong North, and a strong Centre. And most of all, we need a strong middle class. Grâce à un leadership et à une vision à la hauteur de la tâche, nous pouvons bâtir cette force. Démontrer du leadership en travaillant avec acharnement pour tous les Canadiens, pas seulement pour quelques-uns. Leadership that works hard for all Canadians, not just some. And that's not what Mr. Harper is doing. Instead, his top priority in this difficult time is to protect a gift of over $2 billion to the Canadians who need it least. I think that's wrong. À mes yeux, une économie solide se bâtit sur une classe moyenne forte. Une économie qui fait en sorte que chaque Canadien a une chance réelle et équitable de réussir. Une économie qui fournit des salaires croissants et des occasions d'emploi. And one that helps all those Canadians who are working hard every day to join the middle class. Because it all comes down to priorities, doesn't it? And when things get tough, you really get to see a leader's true priorities. Yeah. And what is Mr. Harper's #1 priority right now? A big tax cut for the wealthiest Canadians. Yeah. Now, take a moment to think about it. Canadians worked hard and made sacrifices to pull the economy out of the recession 7 years ago. They created the jobs and growth that were just about to balance the federal budget. And what does Mr. Harper do in response? He spent that surplus, even before it arrived, on a big tax cut for wealthy Canadians. A $2,000 gift. En temps de crise, la principale priorité de M. Harper est de donner aux familles comme la sienne et la mienne $2,000. Well, let me tell you something. Families like his and mine don't need that tax cut. And Canada can't afford it. Canada couldn't afford that income splitting benefit when oil was at $100 a barrel, and it sure can't afford it now. We need to be responsible. This means saying no to tax breaks for people who don't need them and investing instead in the people who do need help. Now, I noticed yesterday that the PM popped up not too far from here, in Orleans. I think General Leslie has them more than a little bit concerned. Now, The Prime Minister said that the best plan for the middle class would be one that puts money in their pockets. But he's campaigning on a plan that takes money from the middle class and gives it to the wealthy. Now, they've never let a contradiction get in the way of a political opportunity. For example, back in 2007, Mr. Harper told international investors that our most important sector to watch was energy. But just a couple of days ago, Mr. Harper insisted that, oh, the oil industry isn't remotely the entire Canadian economy. Ou un autre exemple. Il y a quelques semaines, le ministre des Finances a déclaré que la baisse du prix du pétrole n'aurait aucune incidence sur le budget. Puis le lendemain, il s'est repris. Oh, attendez, oui, ça va avoir un impact, tellement que le budget va maintenant devoir être retardé pendant quelques mois encore. Ils improvisent au fur et à mesure. And just last week, Mr. Harper's jobs minister said the Conservatives would never use its contingency money to help balance the budget. That was totally out of the question. Except, this week, the finance minister said, oh, wait, yes, it actually might be used for that. One story one day, the opposite story the next. They're making it up as they go along. Et en tant qu'enseignant, je peux vous dire que toutes leurs excuses sont l'équivalent politique de « mon chien a mangé mes devoirs ». Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2015. It's an election year. Now, election years are the time when, traditionally, Mr. Harper's Conservatives suddenly locate Ontario on a map of Canada. Mais je vais vous le dire, là, nous les Québécois, ça fait longtemps qu'on est habitués à être laissés pour compte par M. Harper. But here, I've spent a lot of time in this great province, in the southwest, in the north, across the GTA, and yes, right here in Eastern Ontario. I've met with thousands of people, hard-working Ontarians who've had their share of struggles throughout Mr. Harper's decade in office. Ontarians are passionate Canadians. They're builders, they're workers, they're doers. More than anything else, they want a strong and prosperous future for their families, for their communities, and for their country. You know what else they want, my friends? No more hurt. They want change. Ontarians are tired of a government in Ottawa that ignores their leaders, ignores their economy, and then shows up at election time like none of it ever happened. Well, I'll tell you something. Not this time. This great team we're building here in Ottawa, all over Ontario, and all across the country, won't let them run from their record. No. Ontario needs a partner in Ottawa, not an adversary. And I need you, Ontario needs you, to work hard every day to earn the right to be that partner in Ottawa. So I was talking about exactly this last week in London and in Windsor, that Ontarians deserve a government that helps their communities and businesses innovate and invest for 21st century prosperity. And you know what happened? The finance minister attacked me for it. Now, silly me, I figured that between postponing the budget and trying to figure out what in the world was Plan B and correcting Jason Kenney's public statements, Joe Oliver might be too busy for personal attacks. Not so, apparently. Mr. Harper and his Conservatives can always make time to attack and divide. What they cannot seem to do is bring people together and lead. And Ontarians, like people across Canada, are starting to figure them out. So I'll tell you this. They can stay focused on me all they want. I'm going to stay focused on Canadians. You see, that's what sets us apart. Mr. Harper cares about some of the wealthiest Canadians becoming wealthier. He cares about attacking me. He cares about spending billions of dollars of the public money on partisan government advertising. Most of all, he cares about keeping his job. Ce qui intéresse M. Harper, c'est de rendre encore plus riches les Canadiens qui sont déjà riches. Et bien sûr, m'attaquer dans l'espoir de garder son propre emploi. Well, we care about helping hardworking Canadians make ends meet. That's our priority. In times like these, the Prime Minister's job is to build people's confidence and stick up for the people who need it most, not those who need it least. Mr. Harper has had 9 long years to get this fundamental thing right. He was elected almost 4,000 days ago. So we've had a lot of time to learn about this government. One thing that we have learned for sure is that Mr. Harper and his government will never change. But this year, if we work hard, Canadians will change that government. We all know that this is an election year. And in the coming months, particularly here in Ottawa, you'll see an awful lot about political games, polling, and pundits. Forget about all that. We need to spend every day thinking about Canadians. That's why we're in this. That's why we're here tonight. Because we want to do more than just win an election. We want to build a great country. C'est ça la différence que nous ne devons jamais oublier. Nous ne nous sommes pas engagés pour nous-mêmes, mais l'avons fait pour les Canadiens. We are in this for Canadians. This government's top priority seems to be helping themselves and the people who need it least. Notre priorité est d'aider ceux qui en ont le plus besoin, les Canadiens de la classe moyenne et les Canadiens qui travaillent fort tous les jours pour faire partie de cette classe moyenne. Our priority is to help those who need it most, middle-class Canadians and those working hard every day to join the middle class. Remember that. Remember it when you're out knocking on doors, when you're pounding the pavement, when you're talking with your friends and your neighbors. remember who we are working for. Because reading it in a platform is one thing, but Canadians from coast to coast to coast should see it in our eyes and hear it in our voices. And mostly, they need to see it in our work ethic. So get out there in your community. Get out there in your community, support your local candidates, knock on that extra door, hammer in that one more sign, make that last phone call. Canada is a great country, my friends, and this year, let us all earn the right to give it a better government. Merci beaucoup, tout le monde. Merci. Thank you. Thank you.